to have to be able to be resilient because the world always thinks that women are strong.
Houston is the most diverse city in the nation and is often described as the future of our nation's increased multi-ethnic society. Unfortunately, reproductive oppression and systems of care and education continue to create persistent health inequities among women of childbearing age. Storytelling is a proven strategy in health promotion and has allowed those marginalized by these systems to provide simplistic narratives regarding access and care. With diminishing access to reproductive health clinical services and sexual health education, particularly in the southern United States, it is necessary to understand the life course experiences of women who live in these regions. To build this collection of stories for health promotion, public health advocacy, and paradigm shifts in reproductive health communication. Welcome to the Owning HERStory Reproductive Health Storytelling Project. This study provides a deeper insight into the personal experiences of Houston women between the ages of 18 and 80 on their reproductive health journey through life course interviews. While we dive deep into some of the work of On Every Piece regarding reproductive health, listen to the women's stories, take them in, and allow them to show what is truly needed in this space. The Reproductive Equity Project at the University of Texas Health Science Center in the School of Public Health sought to understand the challenges of women of reproductive age in the Houston area. 4 in 10 women say they have experienced some sort of discrimination when seeking health care due to their race or ethnicity, skin tone, age, parental status, marital status, or LGBTQ identification.
She asked me like if I had only been sleeping with one person who is my boyfriend now and was my boyfriend at the time. And I was like, yes, like I've only slept with one person. And then she asked me like, oh, are you sure? And I was like, what do you mean am I sure? I think I'm sure. Like, I think I would know. And so like, that was like the most uncomfortable experience.
My ovaries were full of little cysts. At no point was it ever a discussion of, well, let me check your heart. Like none of that was ever brought up. It was just like, okay, you're big or you're fat, go lose some weight and you'll get pregnant.
Less than half of Houston area women say that they can trust healthcare providers all or most of the time to do what is right for their community regarding birth control and reproductive health.
Yeah, the lady just handed me a pamphlet. She didn't really talk to me about this is how you can prevent. Like there was no conversation around, okay, you have HPV. This is what this means. This is what this can mean. This is what you need to do. None of that. So it was kind of like so I did my own research. I don't know. I just was kind of shocked. This is how you tell someone that they have an STD. Like you just hand them a pamphlet and keep going. Yeah. I've read a lot of stories, unfortunately, about women dying during childbirth, just being misdiagnosed, not getting the care that they need. I have a cousin. She was 31. She had a headache, a migraine. And from what I understand, she had an aneurysm and died waiting to be seen by a doctor. So, I mean, like, I feel like we are too evolved as a country and a nation. We have too much money and too many resources for people to still be dying, to be getting misdiagnosed, to not be getting the care that they need, regardless of what they look like or how much money they have. Like preserving human life to me is just important and it should be a priority. And as a physician or a healthcare worker, like if that's not why you're doing it, then you shouldn't be doing it. But there has to be a level of trust and comfort when it comes to finding a doctor. And it shouldn't just feel like you're just another number. Like you should feel like they're really invested in your health and your well-being and that, you know, they're going to do everything to take care of you.
Over half of uninsured women and nearly half of those with household incomes of less than $50,000 a year report difficulties finding affordable care.
Birth control should not be like a luxury, but in a way it kind of is because not everybody has access to it. Or not everybody can get it for a free or reduced price.
Access, especially for low-income women. Mm-hmm. The access is a problem. The barrier, like being able to afford healthcare, being able to even get to the doctors, like that's number one. And then knowing where, like for instance, like we just talked about how women should keep Plan Bs and women should keep condoms. knowing where to get the resources. There's plenty of organizations, there's plenty of buildings that will give it to you for free, but women need to know these things.
Throughout the ongoing process of interviewing women, we have found shame and stigma to be a large area of discussion. This shame and stigma oftentimes stems from lack of open discussion in households, conservative backgrounds, fear of judgment from parents, fear of judgment in stores while getting reproductive items, and fear of judgment from their healthcare providers.
I couldn't talk to my mom because just I really have grown up in such a conservative family. So it's like talking about sex is just not normal at all. You know, like I remember when I first got my period, like I hid it from my mom for maybe like 4 or 5 months. Like I can't believe I even got away with not telling her for that long. And then she finally found out one day. And like I think she like saw like some of my jeans were stained or something from school. And she was like, wait, do you have your period? And I was like crying my eyes out, like, yes, I'm so sorry. And she was like, why are you sorry? But I was like, I don't know. Like, you don't talk to me about this stuff, you know?
I grew up in like a very hyper Christian household, like evangelical Christian. So like there was a lot of like hush hush, like abstinence only approach to sex. So a lot of the things that I found out was either through my own experiences, like, or through friends telling me things.
The first time that I like bought condoms, like I was kind of like, oh my God, like everyone's looking at me in here, like everyone's judging me just so bad. And then, you know, the first times like I would buy pads and stuff, like I like hide it like underneath my arm or like in my cart. And now it's just so normal to me. But I do think that there's this weird, like, I don't know, just it always makes people uncomfortable when you go to like Walgreens or like a pharmacy and you're course buying like a Plan B, and a lot of the times now they don't keep it like in the aisle where they have the pregnancy test and condoms and all of that. You have to go to the counter and ask for it. And there have been a few times where I've gone like to the pharmacy because the line was long or whatever, and I've been like, I just need to buy a Plan B, and they're like, oh, you have to go to the front. So I wish more pharmacies like that carried it like in the pharmacy section, if that makes sense, like the clinic part, I'm not sure what to call it, versus like going to the register, because I feel like when you ask for it, they're like, okay, you know, like it's like, it just feels so judged. And I mean, I understand, you know, you shouldn't be like taking Plan B all the time or whatever, but just, you know, it's like your personal choice. And if it happens, it happens. And sometimes I feel like girls avoid it or, you know, let it lead on too long or have someone else go by it just because they have this fear of being judged.
It's a normal thing. It's not something that should be taboo or not talked about, because it's normal. It's, you know, how you're here, it's how I'm here. It's life.
Another large Achilles heel that has been identified is lack of education. In school-based sexual health education, a lot of women reported that there were unqualified instructors or abstinence-only viewpoints being pushed through that education. Also, in parental home-based sexual health education, fear-based teaching was a common theme, as well as overall avoidance of the topic of sex.
My parents never gave me the talk.
And I remember our health teacher, she was like older, had to have been in her like 60s, and Barry was like, don't have sex till you're married, like the traditional abstinence kind of situation. And this is only what you do when you're in love and things of that nature.
I grew up in a household, we didn't talk about sex at all. And that's honestly why I do a lot of advocacy work around reproductive justice and sexual health, because me being from the South, my family being from Louisiana, no, like we don't talk about it. And it's like, no, it needs to be talked about. Sex, your body, like these are things that need to be talked about.
Like I never wanted my mom to know I was having sex because, you know, we never really had the sex talk.
I didn't even know that was a part of school curriculum until college, when they would do like put a condom on a banana. I didn't have any type of sexual education in school, which is crazy, but it was never talked about ever. I think it's very important to at least like educate people in like high school, at least their senior year of high school, junior year of high school, like let them know the basics of like sexual education, because I think it makes a difference in how you go about things. Like I would notice like if people were getting pregnant young, it was probably due to like a lack of knowing all their options, like when it came to being pregnant, like knowing how to protect themselves, like knowing what to ask from a partner, like knowing what consent is. Like you just really do not know like the full depth of issues such as like, what is consent? What am I comfortable with? What do I do if I do get pregnant? How do I keep myself from getting pregnant if you don't have like any type of sexual education?
I'm gonna speak about things because I don't think that talking about sex is like weird. I think it's very normal and we should normalize the conversation around it. And then like that, for the younger generations, we can show them like it's totally normal to talk about these things, and then maybe keep from, you know, like these girls having no resources and like all these things happening and they have nowhere to go to. Like, I just think we all as a whole need to be open about everything, whether you're a guy or you're a girl, like it doesn't matter.
Always embrace your story. Everybody's story is different. It's not going to be the same with everybody that you come in contact with. And it's okay to not share your story. It's okay to share your story. I think, you know, once you're comfortable doing like things like this, I think it gives people the power to, you know, take claim over their reproductive health, because not everybody is in control of their health right now. I think things like this will motivate people. This decreases stigma. Lots of women have different stories and they go through different things. And so hearing somebody else is like, wow, I think it motivates women to see other women in power and doing things like this.